Are the Bruins giving up on the playoffs? Yes, that's already been kind of. Yeah, they are.
I didn't want
And
to say that.
no, they are. No, but like my thing is, I've argued for them to give up on the playoffs for a while now. Because if you watch this team night in, night out, you understand this team's not that good. Hurts me to say that, but they're not that good. Outside of Morgan Geeky and David Pasternak, there's not much secondary offense.
No.
Brad Marchand is a shell of what he used to be. And it's
Mm-hmm.
understandable because of the amount of surgeries this man has had gone through. But the Bruins aren't a good team right now.
No.
And I made a video on it earlier. The only guys that I feel like are untouchable currently on the Bruins roster is David Pasternak. Even though some Bruins fans like trade him, trade him. I'm like, you're smoking crack. Matthew Patra because he's young and I think there might be some potential there. I could be
Mm-hmm.
wrong on that, but there could be some potential there.
I like that kid.
I do too. I think if he gets in the weight room, add some weight, he'll
Yeah,
be.
he needs about 10, 15 pounds more muscle on him, and then
I agreed. Um, Elias Lindholm, just because you sign that contract, you're not going to be able
yeah.
to move him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think he'll have a better year in year two.
I
And
I think Morgan Geekies might have been the best, maybe the best guy on your team outside of who's not named
I
Pasternak.
agree. I mean, Morgan Geeky has, and it's crazy considering he kind of started off the season slow. Um,
I
and
liked him
then
when he was with Seattle.
yeah,
I
and
thought he was
then
good then.
and then on defense for me it would be Carlo, even though he's might get moved, but I think Carlo shouldn't be moved because I like him. I like him a lot. Carlo, Lorai because he's young,
Yeah,
and McAvoy and Lindholm. Hampus Lindholm, we'll see. I mean, there might be a chance he's never the same because he was rehabbing, came back, and then now he's going to need surgery. So Hampus Lindholm, that might be turned into an LTIR thing uh, for a long time. But McAvoy, but and outside, Jeremy Swayman because of the contract he signed. But
hmm,
everyone else on this roster, including Brad Marchand, should be on the table to be moved.
yeah.
If I'm the Bruins and I'm doing my due diligence, uh, that's kind of what I think would be the best fit for the team. Like just everybody's available within reason, and I'm not saying sell every piece, but let's say
No,
somebody comes for like let's say a contender comes for Charlie Coyle, right? And you're able to get like a first round pick for Charlie Coyle, which honestly that could be the comp right now because you're seeing all these trades happen and like players of relatively the same amount of production or around the same amount of production going for first round picks. You could get a first round pick for Charlie Coyle. I say you take that deal.
yeah.
And
I still fucking hate him.
Pavel Zaka, same thing, right?
Ooh, really? Uh,
Listen. I think Pavel Zaka has value, and
yeah,
again, I don't want them to get rid of everybody. I think Pavel Zaka probably least likely to move because him, Geeky, and Pasternak are the only line that scores on this
yeah.
fucking team. So I'd be fine with keeping
That's
Pasternak, but
well,
I think they gotta find pieces to fit Elias Lindholm's game. They
yeah.
don't have that right now. You know,
I and it's still. I've told you this in the past. I still think. I wish you guys would have pushed harder for Bertuzzi.
we did. That was
Just
purely Tyler Bertuzzi's fault for thinking this man was a $10 million player. I mean, he has wrists made of glass. He's always injured. I just
yeah,
call it what it is. And I mean, he fumbled the bag. That's on Bertuzzi. That was
yeah.
stupid on his part
Mm-hmm.
because Sweeney was going to offer him a solid deal, but instead of being smart and kind of going back to a team where you looked pretty damn good with and probably would have played with David Pasternak, you're going to
Yeah.
be a moron
A
and
greedy
it
douchebag.
blew up in your face. Do you believe Nitnikov
The
fits the
Russian
fourth
kid.
line? Fits the fourth line. I think yeah. I think he'll fit. I think there could be a little bit more upside there. If I'm the Bruins right now, not to make this just a Bruins stream, but if I'm the Bruins right now, elevate Johnny Beecher, let him play in a third
Yep.
line role. I like his speed. I like the
Mm-hmm.
person generally,
I
and he
like
was a
his tenacity.
yeah. I think personally, you give him a little bit more weapons around him. I think Johnny Beecher could be a solid third line type player, and I think
Score you 15 or 20.
yeah, I mean probably around 10, 15, right? But I think Johnny Beecher, there's more there. And
Yeah.
is he ever going to be an all-star? Probably not, but I
No.
think he could be an adequate third-line player. And if you surround him a little bit more talent, a little bit more finish around him, I think you could see an increase in his point totals. And then you let the young kids see and see how he fits.
Yeah.
That surname can cure dyslexia or cause it, either or. Talking about Trent Frederick Beecher bumps to left wing 3, let him play his offensive game, and I agree. I think
Yeah.
give Beecher the time and opportunity to succeed. I want to ask this: Brad Marchand's been rumored to be in possible trades and things of this nature. What do you think of Brad? Like, do you think the Bruins should move Brad Marchand?
I I want to say no because I'm not really sure what they would get in return.
Considering some of the pieces that have gone around, I think you could maybe get a second for him, or if a team's really desperate, like second or third, maybe like a couple picks. But
Well, I
I,
mean, would you trade him to the Devils since Hughes is gone?
I mean, I don't think he's fast enough to fit with their game
Yeah.
anymore. And it's just a shame because I'm not trying to besmirch the play. I loved Brad Marchand in his prime. I love him as a player.
But he's just not the same dude
He's not
anymore.
the same dude. Sean says starts with the first round pick. If Marchand gets traded, you lose leadership and the mentor, and I think they'll miss him a lot. What's going on, Simplicity? I'm feeling pretty good. Can't complain. And it has to be a contender. I mean, as for Marchand losing leadership, I mean, I'm
Mm,
gonna get some flack for this. I don't think he's captain material personally.
same.
Um, I love Brad Marchand. I think as an A, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think his temperament in the way I just again I love what he's done for the team. He's helped the team win a cup when he was very young. I think
Yeah.
he's helped the Bruins be very good for a very long time. That quote unquote perfection line, the corniest line name in all of hockey, but like. And some of that could be reputation playing into it, but like it's kind of hard to respect a guy regardless if it happened in the past. Like it's hard to respect a guy as a captain when he was like licking guys and shit. Like it's just
Yeah.
it's a weird thing there. And
It's like if you made Sean Avery captain.
he's a great player and he's a great person off the
Yeah.
ice. I want to make that very clear. He does a lot in the
Yeah.
community. He's a great human being, but just as a leader, I don't see it. Um,
He's one of those guys that's meant to wear the A.
Agreed. I think
You know.
he can be a part of a leadership group.
Yeah.
He just can't be the leader, in my opinion.
No.
And
He's because he's like you have the grandfather, the wizened old man that just mentors and so on. And I always looked at Brad Marshall like the crazy uncle.
that's what I was gonna say. The crazy uncle that don't like, yeah, the crazy uncle that had a bunch of
Yep.
wild stories.
Yeah, the cool crazy uncle that always take you out and get you shit faced, and just would always look after you, but might get you in a little bit of trouble.
You know, and I'm not blaming Marshawn solely for this, but some of the locker room shenanigans and problems reported, whatever. If there's smoke, there's fire. But I think a lot of some of the reports were definitely not true. But I think overall, just some of the stuff I'm seeing on the ice, it didn't happen with like Patrice Bergeron. It didn't happen
No.
with Zdeno Chara. Like there was
No.
always that responsibility, and
Uh-huh.
I think if they're going to trade Brad Marchand, it has to be a contender. I think Colorado. If I'm Colorado, I would definitely Brad Marchand. Again, I'm not trying
Okay.
to. He's not a top 6 guy, in my opinion, at this point. But you get him in the third line with a little bit of depth, and you surround him with more talent. And that's the thing is, I think if Marchand's not in a great situation, because I don't think there's a ton of talent around him that fits his skill set. But if you put him on a more talented team, I think you could get like a solid middle 6 guy, a guy that could play second line wing, right? But probably on a
Okay.
Stanley Cup contender, be a really good third line guy,
I'm
and
gonna
who's
throw
had the
you. I'm gonna throw you a
experience.
trade. I'm gonna throw you a trade right now. Middlestad for Marchand.
Oh, I would take that in a fucking heartbeat. Like, because Middlestat he's younger,
Mm-hmm.
and you've always kind of hoped with Middlestat there's a little bit more there offensively,
Yeah,
but
he
it
he
just doesn't
kind of was.
materialize.
He didn't. I mean, he looked great after we got him from Buffalo last year,
Mm-hmm.
and then this year he's just kind of been non-existent. He's played a little better in the past, like 3 or 4 games,
Mm-hmm.
but before that, it was just like he was kind of not there.
Well, and that's the interesting thing here is the like Middlestat. I think there's actually definitely more there in the tank, but
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason, it's just not worked, and
Yeah.
that's fine. That happens. But
I mean,
I would
now,
take Middlestat for Marshawn.
now if this happens tomorrow, if they trade Middlestat for Marchand, I'm just gonna fucking fall over,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna start. I'm gonna, you realize I'm gonna messenger you and just in all caps saying Puckstradamus.